Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Jack's Literary Corner. I am Jack, or Jackie, and I have just recently finished Cersei finally, as though that will be the first book I finished in June, even though I started in May, and I was hoping to finish it by then, but, even though I was breezing through and I was really enjoying it, it still took me a little time because I kept getting sidetracked by other books, and no, it wasn't that this book was boring or that I wasn't enjoying it, it's just... That's what tends to happen. Sometimes I get distracted. And as I've said before in the past, whenever we go places or we go to go to the pool or not yesterday but the day before, I went with my dad on the boat. Or when we go traveling to visit family, I bring several books. And plus it's the hardback edition. There's not a paperback one that I know of yet. I think there's a paperback in the UK because usually they get paperbacks first. But here in the US we get hardbacks first before we get the paperbacks. And it takes a year or longer before we get the paperbacks. So now that I finished it, I will do a review on it, but I'm gonna wait until I finish another book. Because I'm trying this new thing where I review 2 books in one video. Because since I'm not the greatest reviewer ever, I decided at least I can fill the time by talking about 2 books. Not just one book. Because, the time about one book, it might not be long enough. And I don't know if I want to do wrap-ups anymore. Because I feel like everybody does wrap-ups. And I would like to improve my reviewing skills. Because, yes, you technically could argue that a lot of people do reviews, but again, I want to improve my reviewing skills. So I decided to make a sort of TBR. I was going to make a June TBR, but I've come to realize there are a lot of books that I feel the need to read, now, that I really want to get into. So I've decided to just do a TBR for the summer books, and I don't even know if I'll get through all these books. I probably won't get through all these books, especially since half of these books are really big books, over 500-page books. And it's one of these things where when I'm trying to get really far in a big book, I would have to be completely focused on that big book, and I would also have to I can't be too tired. I can't be tired because then, especially since I get a lot of mass market paperbacks, my concentration level, if it's small print and I'm tired and we're traveling, then, I need to read the same sentence 10 times and I don't absorb all the story. And then I get sidetracked when I'm at home, I get sidetracked by all my other books. So if you guys have that problem, please let me know, and maybe you can give me some advice. I would really appreciate it. But anyway, so I've organized all the books into piles. I have one pile of books that I will probably get through pretty quickly. I probably still won't get through all of them, unless I read, almost non-stop. But, I gotta work, for one. I'm off the next few days, but then I work Friday, and I think I work Saturday. That's what I think I saw Saturday on the schedule, too. But on Friday, I don't have to work until 3, so I still have several hours in the morning and for the first couple hours of the afternoon. And I don't remember what it said for my schedule on Saturday, but, I still, even if I have days off, I still don't necessarily want to read the whole day as passionate as I am about reading. I have other stuff I want to do because I love watching TV as much as I love reading. So, and plus, I sometimes want to get out of the house, so I go with my parents to run errands, and because I don't drive, so I can't just pick up and drive myself somewhere. I could take the 10-minute walk to the bookstore, but then I get sidetracked and tempted to buy books as soon as I get in there. I guess I could sit outside, but it's summertime, so it's really hot. And then I'm not a big fan of going to the library because it's almost too quiet and too dark in the building. So I want, so I'm kind of, it's just, Anyway, let me get to the books before this video gets too long. Okay, so like I said, I have it divided into piles. I have the books that I will have a better chance of getting through. And then I have a second pile of books that's like books that it's a 50-50 chance that I might get through them. And then I have a pile of books that I kind of need to start getting back into. And then I have a Stephen King pile. And then I have a pile of books that are like the bigger books that I don't know if I'll finish or I'll get to this summer. But some of them are books I probably need to get into because I've started reading them. So I need to get to them before I forget. But I keep trying to come up with like maybe get a book like each month, have books that come from each genre to read during the month. But then it's like too easy for me to go straight to a fantasy book, for instance. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the first set of books begins with I want to read 2 more stories from the Bane Chronicles. This is a series of shorts of novellas about Magnus Bane, the character, the warlock character in Cassandra Clare's books in her Shadowhunter series, Shadowhunter Chronicles. And he's still, despite the fact that I'm starting to move on from this series of books, Magnus is still my favorite character. And these are all about all of his adventures, and there's even a story about his relationship with Alec Lightwood in here. And right now I'm on the story, where am I? Go to the contents. Okay, so I'm on the story The Midnight Air, so that's the 4th novella in the book. And then I have The Rise of the Hotel de Mort, Saving Rafael Santiago, The Fall of the Hotel de Mort, What to Buy a Shadowhunter is Everything, Who You're Not Officially Dating, which that is the longest title of a story I've ever seen. The Last Stand of the New York Institute, The Course of True Love, and First Dates, and The Voicemail of Magnus Bane. So I still have quite a few stories to go, so I might read 3 stories or 4 stories instead of just 2. It depends on how long they were, because some of these are kind of long. So I want to read some of these stories. But like I said, they shouldn't take me as long. I've been wanting to read more retellings of Beauty and the Beast, and I finished Cruel Beauty not that long ago, and I'm actually going to not donate it to the used bookstore, but I'm going to give it to my 2 of my best friends who finally, they've just gotten out of, one of them's still going to go back to school, but the other one is going to take a break from schooling, so now they can read whatever they want instead of books that they have to read for school. So I'm going to make sure that I recommend books to them, because my other best friend who has more time to read, she's more particular with what she reads. So, and since I'm a little more open-minded in when I read, it's hard for me and her to talk. As much as we both love reading, it's hard for us to talk about books that we both love. So, I mean, luckily for me, there are some classics that we can both read together. So, and she also is a Beauty and the Beast fan, so she enjoyed Cruel Beauty as well, and she's the reason I finally decided to read that one. So I read that one, and then I remember Murphy Napier had talked about Hunted, and she said it's one of her favorite books, and I think this is one of the ones that actually has a sequel too. So, but I've been procrastinating reading it, so finally I think I'm going to get around to it this month. So this is one of my top priority books I want to read this month. And then next I want to read, if you watched my video on Top Wednesday's father figures, I talked about this quartet. This is a middle grade quartet, and this is the 3rd book. It's if you didn't watch that video, it's about this where I kind of give a summary of what it's about. It's this kid, Javine, who's half human, half elf, accepted by neither the humans or the elves, because he's not fooling either one of them. And he is recognized by a famous dragon rider who are they're like the knights, the soldiers of this world. And Sile Derek, who decides to take him to Library Academy because he sees he could potentially be a dragon rider. Takes him in and trains him and becomes his mentor. And this is the third, and it's, it's like Harry Potter meets Lord of the Rings meets Inheritance Cycle. Which normally I'm against that, but against saying that, but in my defense, I'm not saying it's the next Harry Potter or the next Inheritance Cycle. I'm just saying it's very similar to those stories. Like similar themes and types of character types. This is the third book, and it's middle grade, so it doesn't take me as long to read. Although it's still pretty long, and also the writing style is much more simple and less complex and not as wordy. It's very, as I always say, very straight to the point with the writing. It's still very, and it's a really good series, and it's one of the only series I've bought so far at a convention where I have all the books in the series. Like, I don't like buying books from conventions, even though sometimes I just can't help it. But I don't like buying them because if it's a series, it doesn't necessarily have the whole series. You might have to go through the process of getting it online, because authors that go to those conventions aren't like known authors. They're not like famous authors like J.K. Rowling or something. So there's no guarantee you'll find their books in stores yet. And I don't feel comfortable with asking to buy these books online, because I'm not the one. My mom kind of has to help me out with that. She actually has to make the purchase and stuff. I've not, to be honest, I have actually never bought an online, except for when I use gift cards. But luckily for me, this particular series she had all 4 books. The publisher had all 4 books with her, so I was able to I got a deal and got all 4 books. Although I had to make sure my friend Terry, the one who I always go to conventions with, I had to make sure it was like a good, in her opinion, was it a good deal and everything. I think I did. Anyway, so this one shouldn't take me as long to read. Okay, next. So next, this is one of the books I got for Christmas, or my birthday. No, not for Christmas, my birthday. By Allie Smith. Autumn by Allie Smith. It's from her seasonal quartet. One of my favorite booktubers, Jen from Insert Larry Pun, is always talking about Allie Smith, and she has done reviews for the first 2 books in this quartet. So she has done a review of this one, and she also did a review of Winter. I don't have Winter yet, but it's definitely on my list of to buy books. So I started reading this, and at first I thought, because it's the same writing style that Virginia Woolf uses, the stream of consciousness, and I did not like her To the Lighthouse story. And at first I thought it was because of the stream of consciousness writing style, but that's the same writing style that Allie Smith uses in this particular book. Now, I don't know if all her books are like that, but I had no problem getting into this. I was not confused at all. And I'm really enjoying it. And I think this one, because of the writing style, I think it will help get through this a lot quicker. So that's why it's in this pile. But yeah, basically it's about this young girl, Elizabeth, from the 90s, and then she is friends with this older gentleman who's her neighbor. And it's kind of also his story. And I think we'll get flashbacks. I don't know if I've already read flashbacks or not of his life, but it's about their relationship. So far, that's what it's about. So I gotta get to that one. I want to do that one. And like I said, I don't think that one would take as long because of the writing style. And like I said, I probably still won't get through all these books anyway, so it won't matter. But I'm going to try. The next one is the final book in the Raven Cycle quartet, The Raven King. Now, I have heard that a lot of people were not happy with the fourth book. Like, that Blue Lily, Lily Blue, the third book in the series, is still their favorite, and they were a little disappointed with this one. But, of course, it's part of the series, though, and it's the final chapter, so you gotta read. Although, she did make an e-book about one of the characters, Opal. I think she's one of Blue's aunts. Maggie Stiefvater did publish that as an ebook, which I guess I could download because I have a Nook, but I also no longer have gift cards because I already used them all up. I mean, that was my original intent, to be able to use the gift cards to download stuff from my Nook, but I made a mistake and went ahead to the store before I downloaded anything for my Nook. But yeah, so I have got to read this final book, and I don't know, maybe I'll be like everybody else, or maybe I'll actually enjoy it. I don't know, but I definitely want to read it. And like I said, I don't think it will be that long. It's not middle grade, which usually takes me the least amount of time to read, but it is YA. YA I get through pretty quickly too. But I'm definitely excited about this. Plus, this is also a book that I got for Christmas last year, and I still have not read it, and I feel like I need to read it soon. This next one is one that another one I got for my birthday. Actually, I bought this one myself. Because I think it was Jen Campbell who talked about this book, The Winter People. It's a bit of I think it's a bit of a mystery, maybe a little bit of magical realism, I don't know. I've read some of it, but I haven't read a lot. So far we met the people from the past, because it goes back and forth between the modern 2015, and then back in 1908. I think, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not 2015. I don't know. Well, I guess it would be, because it depends on when this book was published, I guess. But, I mean, even Stephen King blurbed it. He said, crisp, mysterious, and scary. Oh, no, wait, no, never mind. The USA Today blurbed it, and, they compared it to Stephen King's writing. But so far, I'm kind of just met the family, from the Shia family, and their little girl has disappeared. The father is trying to prove himself to his family that he can take care of them. The mom has this very close relationship with her daughter, with the little girl that disappears, and the father doesn't approve of it. I have not read enough to get a full-form summary, sorry. But I do want to continue with that. And then the last one that I think shouldn't, although it might take me a long time. I don't know. I feel like that one shouldn't take me. Winter People. This one actually might be more middle, where it's a 50-50 chance it will take me a long time or not. But Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I want to get back into reading this before I lose interest, because that kind of has been happening some lately, where there's been a couple books that I've lost. I've decided, because again, as I said before, I'm feeling pressured to donate books so that eventually I can make room for new books. Because my shelf's getting pretty full, and it does not help that there's a bookstore a 10-minute walk away, and the prices are really cheap, even though they don't have a lot of the popular books. Like Sarah J. Maas's books, for instance, or Maggie Stiefvater's books. Although I'm helping them with that when I donate my books. But yeah, Night Film. Actually, this was one I got from these bookstore. So they have some of these type books. But, if you're lucky. So I don't want to lose interest in it, so I'm going to go ahead, I want to get back into reading this. Like I said, this one might take me a little longer than the other ones. But it is a little different. Most of the books I have here are kind of fantasy. So next, I'll just go ahead and talk to you about the books. Oh, I might have to divide this. Sorry, excuse me. So it looks like I might have to divide this in parts. So let me just jump. Okay, so next, let me tell you about the books that I probably need to get back into soon, but I've taken a break from them. Well, except for this first one here is one that I haven't taken a break. I just didn't, as I need to finish Cersei, so I finished that today. And that is The Paying Guest by Sarah Waters. I want to say, I'm trying to think of who talked about it. Maybe Mercy from Mercy Bookus Musings or Words of a Reader. I don't know. Or maybe even Jen Campbell or Jen from Insert Learn. One of them talked about Sarah Waters quite a bit and how much they loved them and everything. Olive from a book Olive. I don't know. One of them talked about Sarah Waters, and so I finally got around to reading her books. I started reading this one, which is a book set in the 1920s. It's this young woman, Frances, and her mother living in their house alone. Both her brothers and father have died, and they find that they don't have the money anymore. They have lost a lot of money. So they decide to have tenants in their house. And they invite this young married couple, to stay with them. And Frances is very curious about these people. And so is her mother. And then Frances forms a friendship with the wife, Lillian Barber. And that friendship turns into romance. But of course, she's married for one, and this is set, so she's having an affair. But not only is she cheating on her husband with Frances, but this is also during the 1920s. So being homosexual is not good. People will judge you for that, and it's not accepted by society. So they have to keep this relationship secret for, not just the fact that they're technically having an affair, but also because they are two women in love. And so far, it's this beautiful romance, even though it's an affair. And I love the 1920s, and I love, and I love her writing style. It's very good, very descriptive, and I'm taking notes and marks places in the book so that when I finally finish it and do a review, I can do a more thorough review, hopefully. I'm already on part 2 when their affair is going on, and even her ex, Frances' ex, is a little judgmental of that particular relationship because Lillian is getting what her ex-girlfriend wanted to get from Frances, essentially. The love and support and bravery that Frances could not give back then. So I need to get back into reading this one. I started reading a little bit more of it last month. This is Leah Meacham's, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. It's her saga about this family who, they own this cotton plantation. It's set in Texas, but the problem is that the people who become passionate about this plantation, they become obsessed with it, and then they prioritize the plantation over the people they love. And the book starts out with you have 2 stories. You have the story of Mary Tolver, and then you have the story of her granddaughter Rachel. I will be getting to Rachel's story soon, but right now I'm kind of still finding out what happens to Mary's love interest Percy Warwick. So it's kind of compared to Gone with the Wind, that it's a saga set in the South. I don't know, but it's a very different story. Like, it's early 1900s, so it's before and after World War I. And you do have a little bit of World War I in there, because Percy and their other friend who was in love with Mary go to war, and her brother too, go to war. So we have a little bit of World War I and how it affects these people and how it impacts their lives. And Percy is like head over heels crazy about Mary and wants to marry her, but he wants all of her. But she can't give him that because the plantation that she inherited from her father is more important to her than, its top priority. And unfortunately, this obsession not only affects her relationship with Percy, but also affects her relationship with her mom and her brother. So it's all about that, and then, it's all about that relationship, how it changes and alters her life forever. And then eventually, I haven't got there yet, but we will hear about her granddaughter Rachel's story and how Rachel is just like Mary. And she prioritizes the plantation over everybody else. That's what it's kind of hinting at. Like I said, I'm kind of in the part where we learn Percy's story. We get a little bit of Percy's story and what happened between him and Mary from his side of things. And it's really good. And a lot of the characters, and maybe that's because they compare this to Gone with the Wind, but the characters do kind of remind me of the characters in Gone with the Wind. A little bit. But it's a very different story, and the characters are still different. Okay, what I might do is I might do these last couple books, and then I'm going to stop, and then do a part 2 to this video. Okay, so next, the last 2 books that I want to talk about before I stop the video and go to part 2, start with part 2, is I need to get back into Crooked Kingdom. Again, this is one of those books that, yes, I was enjoying it, and I really liked reading and being part of this world again, but then I got kind of restless, and there were other books I wanted to read, so I took a break from this one, but now I feel like I need to get back into it and read a little bit more of it, and I think once I get started reading it, I'll be able to slide back into this world, and want to continue with it. So this is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. Unless most people probably know what this duology is about, but I'll go ahead and tell you. It's about a group of people they're all criminals and con men, and they are requested to retrieve break out this scientist from a prison who has invented a drug that affects the magic users of this universe, the Grisha. But the drug, of course, like any other drug, has consequences, and they don't want this drug to get into the wrong hands and wipe out all the Grisha. So this team of criminals are the only ones who can actually break into the jail and get this scientist. So it's a heist. So it's kind of a heist. So it is a heist story, but I know a lot of people complain that a lot of criticisms the first book received is that there is a lot more planning in flashbacks and getting to know the characters in the first book. And they do say that the second book is so much better than the first one. So, and like I said, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just one of these things where I just had to take a break from reading it for a little while. So this is one of the ones I definitely need to get back into. And the last one here is a nonfiction. One of the only nonfiction I have here, and that is John Adams by David McCullough. This is actually my brother-in-law's book, and he gave it to me. And of course, last time they came, because they came for Memorial Day weekend, he told me no rush. I don't have to give it back. And I think he even said I could keep it if I wanted to, but I will give it back to him once I finish it. I mean, one day I'll give it back to him. I don't know when that will be. Who knows though? Maybe what I can do is buy him another copy and just keep this one, or buy myself another copy and then give him back his copy. I don't know, but I mean, I might do that, you know. But oh, Rascal, come on, come on. Yes. Sorry about my mom is calling my dog downstairs. But this is, you know, as the title implies, this is about John Adams and his presidency, and you know, there's about his life and everything. And I've always been intrigued about John Adams, especially because of the musical 1776, which is about the creation of the Declaration of Independence, and that's one of my favorite musicals. And John Adams is kind of a central figure in the story. He was one of the ones that pushed getting the Declaration created, and for us to get our freedom from Britain and everything. And how a lot of the people in Congress representing the other states kind of fought him on it. They didn't want this. They were afraid because once they did this, if they lost this war, if America lost the war, well, it wasn't America at the time, but if the colonies had lost the war, then we basically would be considered traitors. You know, it would be treasonous for them to do this. So it's understandable that some of them were afraid to go along with this. But Adams was very stubborn, and as the song goes, he was obnoxious and disliked. But I've been wanting to read this. I've always been intrigued about John Adams. And as far as TV goes, I would love to see, there was that HBO series, John Adams, as well. But I think that's something I would need to buy. I mean, I would love for it to be on Netflix, but I don't know. I don't think it will ever. But I'm going to stop here and make another video, a part 2, where I talk about the other 2 piles of books I have here. So I will probably get to that first set of books that I mentioned first, because hopefully they won't take me as long, and I'll have better luck at getting those finished. And like I said, in between those books, I'll also read a little bit of the books that I just mentioned. But this, as I said, all these books are basically books that I want to read throughout the summer. So stay tuned for part 2, and much love to all my fellow readers that are already subscribed to me. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. And if you are passing through and are just having to watch this video and you haven't already, click subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys later. Love you guys.